Good afternoon. This afternoon I'm going to speak to you with two voices, an institutional voice and a personal voice. The institutional voice in a moment you'll recognize, and hopefully the personal voice you'll recognize after that. But first of all, our condolences to the victims and their families, condolences to our friends, Ms. Vargas and Orlando, how they have rallied and how they have come out in support is exemplary, and we should draw strength from that. We are sickened by the senseless violence that took 50, maybe more lives in Orlando this weekend, and obviously shattered the lives of thousands more forevermore. This attack, make no mistake, is motivated by hate. It's meant to sow terror, and it happened in our backyard. As Dr. Lunsford pointed out, an attack on Orlando is an attack on us. These victims could have been our loved ones, could have been our neighbors, could have been us. Indeed, one of us was there. As Panthers, we have a shared set of values at our FIU. These values reflect positively on who we are as individuals and who we are as an institution that brings us together. These values include respect for diversity and for the dignity of the individual. And all of us here must take personal responsibility for creating a healthy and safe environment at our FIU. It's not some of us, it's all of us. In the aftermath of this tragedy, an aftermath would be hollow, metaphorical, because this is going to go on and on. We want to reiterate our commitment to creating a healthy and safe environment for all members of our community and for the LGBTQA community, most certainly. An attack on any member of the FIU family is an attack on the entire FIU family. And we want to remind all members of our community, if you see something, say something. We have dedicated, hardworking police officers at FIU, but they can't be everywhere at all times. We need and depend upon you to always be aware of your surroundings. Suspicious activity, and you know what that looks like. You've been here long enough. Shouldn't go unreported. If it doesn't feel right, usually isn't. And unfortunately, we live in a world of uncertainty here. Places that in the past were considered safe, places that were considered sacrosanct, are no longer so. And it's incumbent upon all of us to rise up and make our community safer. Hate crimes are heinous. They tear at the fabric of society and at the fabric of our souls. At times like this, we have to find the strength within ourselves and in solidarity with our community to rededicate ourselves to the norms that enhance and fortify our civility. Civility on campus, civility in our neighborhoods, and in our communities. Nothing less than this rededication is necessary. But how do we do this? Is there too much hate? Is there too much bigotry? Can the forces of tolerance overcome those of rejection and hate? Invariably, while we seek to the comfort of others here to be consoled, and I want to thank you all for being here to provide comfort to each other, to us, we reject the depravity in this presence of Orlando. But we have to look within ourselves first. We look to God if we have a God, but we have to look within ourselves. We have to come to grips with the predations of Orlando and elsewhere that shocked the conscience. We have to come to grips with this. And I've given a lot of thinking to this part of that challenge. Ultimately, we have to confront what singer-songwriter Sam Smith calls the lonely hour. Smith speaks to his need for another in his lonely hour. Thus, here we are together to comfort one another and calm ourselves. The Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik contrasts human behavior in an essay titled "The Lonely Man of Earth." It would perhaps not be titled that today, but it was when he wrote it. From this essay, he tells us that there are two contrasting styles. These two styles must be mastered at the same time. The first is an outward style, seeking success in the material world. That increasingly is an element of how we are asked to define ourselves. Success in the material world. The second is a more inward, contemplative style that focuses on inner strength and values. The Orlando tragedy immediately demands action in both domains. But for me, at this point, the former can wait. The former can wait. And I want to call upon you to seek out that lonely hour. You seek it out for you and your inner self to momentarily transcend your need for another, which is important, but to rebuild in the process an even stronger inner core of values that can guide your post-Orlando thoughts and behavior. At FIU, when we talk about taking responsibility, there is an assumption that this will be guided by a very strong value system that speaks to the transcendence, to the high purpose of our educational institution and the inherent goodness of humankind. For me, and I hope for you, Orlando reinforces the sense of urgency to make the world a better place. In this lonely hour, for each of us, that begins with you and the soul searching that accompanies a tragedy such as this. The lonely hour. Find yourself. Re-examine your values. What really matters. Understand that loneliness can and should lead to a better person. The better person that we all seek within us as we grapple with the contradictions and the difficulties and the shame and the disappointment and the rebirth that ultimately has to come out of Orlando. So I want to thank you all for being here. May the comfort of this moment of solidarity be accompanied by a resolve that comes from a new mental and moral commitment within each of us. A new mental and moral commitment to build a better world. We can do this. Thank you all for being here.